Welcome to EarthChangers, where we talk every week with people making a difference in the upstate. Change a mind, change a life, change the earth. Here's your host, Amy Hyder.
Good morning and welcome to EarthChangers. I'm Amy Hyder, your host. Joining me this morning is Micah Israel Miller. Good morning, Micah.
Good morning, Amy.
And Micah is with the Guerrilla Shakespeare Theater Company. I love that name. It's a very exciting name.
Yes.
But you do have a show coming up it's not actually Shakespeare.
It is not, no.
Tell us about it.
Yes, the name would not tip you off, but we are doing a one-woman show called My Name is Rachel Corrie. And it's a recent play about a college-age activist who drops out of school and goes to Gaza to stand with the International Solidarity Movement, which is a Palestinian-led nonviolence action movement in Palestine. And while she is there, she is run over by an Israeli bulldozer.
Wow.
So this play, yes, light stuff.
Yeah,
yes.
very light.
This play documents her life from birth up until this moment through her diary entries, through her emails. And yeah, it's going to be a whirlwind.
Is it so? Are you playing Rachel Corrie?
I am indeed, yes.
Okay.
My name is Micah Israel Miller, and my name is also Rachel Corrie.
Now, do you play other characters within the show, or is it strictly through Rachel's voice?
Sure. So it is strictly Rachel's voice. We do hear other characters' voices throughout, but it is through her narrative. So we read emails from her father and her mother, and there are a couple of times when she speaks as her crush, but all of it is very much from the view of Rachel.
Okay. And what brought this show to your group's attention?
Of course, for sure. So a year and a half ago, Crystal Marie Stewart and I began this theater company. And at first, it was just to start creating work that we felt the community needed. And the first show that we did, as you know, was a queer adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. And I went away for a while for some health reasons. And when I came back, I knew that after seeing Romeo and Juliet, there were things that I wanted to say to this community that I wasn't quite sure how to package together.
Okay.
And I had seen My Name is Rachel Corrie in Greenville at a high school, and it was done with 12 people about 5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So a very different play from that adaptation. But while I was away at school, I studied Arabic and was studying peace, justice, and conflict studies, and just found myself within the narrative of Rachel Corrie. And felt this was the perfect time to bring about the story back into Greenville, because I feel there are many young people in Greenville and across the nation who feel these great emotions and want to go and serve or help or try to figure out where to stand in the middle of conflict, and how to do that from a place of privilege. And so reading through Rachel's work and reading through her diaries, finding myself within that narrative and knowing that I would not be alone in that if I were to bring that to other people my age. And I believe her story is timeless. She was young and 23 and brings that zeal into her own narrative, but wanting to engage specifically the Greenville community that I grew up in and that formed me and gave me such a great passion, but maybe did not give me the best vocabulary or understanding of how to take this energy of wanting to, save the planet, which we cannot do single-handedly, and wanting to engage the community in a dialogue about what does it look like to understand a place of privilege, the pain and suffering and conflict in the world, and how do we take our comfy seat and share it with someone who does not have that.
Right. And something that seems very distant from people in the upstate. You look at it and you go, I look at this conflict and I have no idea. I can see their point.
Yep.
I can see that. I guess I'll just sit back and watch some TV tonight. How's Dancing with the Stars? Because you do not know what to do. And yet Greenville people are very giving, very loving, very empathetic, but in a lot of situations where we simply don't have enough information. We don't know what to think, don't know what to do. This is a great way to educate yourself on the subject.
For sure. And more than that, I think in some ways we maybe have too much information, like at the tip of our fingers, we can get interviews on both sides. If we want to feed our opinion on one side of the argument, we can. There's a treasure trove full of resources. And I think for me, all of that became overwhelming.
That's the thing.
And it paralyzed me. It wasn't so much so that I wanted to take a step back. It was that there was a cacophony of voices around me and I didn't know what to do. And I feel like what Rachel does is while the play is not so much a history lesson on the conflict, it very much engages the audience, whether you know nothing about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict or you are a scholar.
Right.
Rachel's story and Rachel's journals are about being in the middle of it as a person who does not belong to either side.
Right.
And so what does it mean to tread that border, tread that line from a place of honesty and grace and wanting to serve.
And that's wonderful. People have a very big heart of service in the upstate.
So. Yeah.
And this is another point of view on that service. And that sounds like just an amazingly educational experience and very interesting. Now, okay, we've discussed the show. Where is this being held? Where can people go to see it?
Of course, yes. So in the spirit of guerrilla warfare, we like to take all of our shows, our offerings, what we consider our warfare, a nonviolent response to warfare, and do pop-up performances all around the upstate. And for Rachel Corrie, the opening night will be at the Hughes Main Library on the 15th of February.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then the 16th and 17th will be at M. Judson Books on Main Street. And the 18th will be at an underground art studio called Studio Unknown, which is on Easley Bridge Road. And all performances are at 7 o'clock, $10 at the door. And if you need all of that written down in one place, you can go to our Facebook page, which is the Guerrilla Shakespeare Theater Company. You'll find us. Guerrilla,
not the animal, but the kind of warfare.
That's right. 2 R's, 2 L's. It looks really funny.
I'm sitting here adding an extra R to my notes. Okay. Okay.
Naturally.
But so you can find it. You can find it on the internet. You can find one of the pop-up performances and come see the show. And I got to say, this is funny because I didn't know the subject of the show. And you came in this morning and you're wearing a Palestinian scarf around your neck. And I said, yeah, that's a Palestinian scarf. And I said, and it's funny because when I was in college, people unironically wore at the same time the Palestinian scarves and Israeli paratrooper bags.
Yeah.
And they weren't thinking of the conflict. They weren't necessarily, I don't think any of them were even making a unification statement.
Sure.
It was just fashion.
It's just fashion.
And there weren't a whole lot of messenger bags out there at the time. These were the ones you could find at the surplus store.
For sure.
So I find that ironic that I said that.
Well, I think it's ironic, too. I mean, you brought that up as soon as I entered. And while I do not carry around a paratrooper bag, my middle name is Israel.
Yeah.
And I wear this kufiya, the Palestinian resistance scarf. And many people would say that that's irony, like why... that leads questions to itself.
But you can want people to find a common ground and find ways to end their differences and coexist.
Of course. That's what this play is about. It's not about picking a side. It's about ending the violence and understanding that we can't do that. And so how to really just give an ear and be present to the suffering. Which I don't think that Westerners really know how to do.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
It really very much
I don't know how to do it. I'm not calling anyone out. I'm calling myself out.
Yeah, I think we all look around and hold up our hands and go, what? But the more information you can get, the better decisions you can make. So I think this is an excellent opportunity to educate yourself, see some really interesting theater, and that's going to be coming up. Can you give us the dates again?
Yes, the 15th through the 18th of February at 7 o'clock. And in the spirit of education, the show on the 18th at 7 o'clock will also have a forum with some community organizers who have been involved both abroad in Palestine and here on the ground with Amnesty International and other nonviolence groups, as well as an interfaith vigil. So coming back to the upstate, I know that the upstate is a very faith-centered area.
Yeah.
Right here in the buckle of the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
And this conflict specifically is so interwoven within religion and within faith. Mm-hmm. And while the South is known for our Christian faith, our Christian Southern identity, which we may or may not belong to, this conflict has a great deal to do with Abrahamic faiths, which is where the Christian identity within the South was founded.
Right.
So the forum on the 18th will also engage on what it means to be all united within the same history. Mm-hmm. And what does that mean? And how do we hold that space, whether you have faith or not? I do not identify as a Christian or as a Muslim or as a Jew, but I am excited to be able to engage in and come under and learn more.
Right.
From the voices who will be at the forum. So again, that is at 7 o'clock. The show will be at 7 o'clock, and the forum will be right after, followed by the Interfaith Vigil.
And that sounds outstanding. So, okay, you can, again, check out more on Facebook, Guerrilla Shakespeare Theater Company, 2 R's, 2 L's, a UE at the beginning, Guerrilla. Mm-hmm. And the show is called My Name is Rachel Corrie. And we're actually going to talk about yet another show because you were a very busy theater company. and so this is coming up very quickly, but we will be back with more right after this.